Hello and welcome back to Inside Tennessee Football's practice facility. I'm Ryan Sylvia. There's Noah Taylor. We are with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network, and we just met with Tennessee football head coach Josh Heupel for the final time before Tennessee makes its trip down to Gainesville to play Florida. And we're going to give our takeaways from it. We're going to start with the biggest news was Josh Heupel was quoted to say he anticipates Cooper Mays will be ready to play this Saturday. Of course, that isn't 100% confirmation that Mays will play, but it's a really good sign that they expect Cooper to be ready to go. Everything sort of trended towards him being ready for this Florida game, and this is just kind of the latest confirmation that he is looking like he will be in position to. Well, of course, we'll have to wait until Saturday to see for sure, but I thought that was some really positive news for Tennessee's offensive line. Talked about how it'll be important to have kind of that veteran experience at center for a big game like this. Of course, one on the road that's going to have a lot of crowd noise when you're on offense and be really disruptive. Noah, Josh Heupel talked about that crowd noise. What was your takeaway from what he had to say about that?
Yeah, just how they've prepared for it and handled it throughout the week. Obviously, first true road game Tennessee has played this season. For a lot of guys on that team, Cooper Mays included, if he is out there, he's been in that environment before. He's been in environments like that before, so it will be huge to have players like him with that experience out there. There's going to be a lot of guys out there, too, who haven't played in this kind of environment. Early in the season, the Swamp, again, we've talked about it all week, hasn't really been a kind place for Tennessee, but, just interesting to hear him say today what they've done going back to fall camp. It wasn't something they just prepared for this week. It was something throughout the week, throughout fall camp, the weeks of fall camp, summer, spring, even probably, where they're, anticipating playing in front of hostile crowds, which you got to do in this conference. And we heard it yesterday coming into the facility, Tuesday coming into the facility, about the noise out there at practice, the noise they were pumping in, the music they're playing loud. So anticipate those guys kind of being prepared for that, but there's really nothing like the real thing, I think. Be interesting to see, because last year they talked about, had a lot of motion penalties and things against Georgia in a very loud environment. Looked a little bit better against South Carolina a few weeks later. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys who've been in that environment before, how they handle it this time, and how the new guys handle it as well.
Tennessee's 2 losses last season, both coming on the road. I'm sure if you asked Josh Heupel, he would say the crowd noise wasn't the reason they lost, and there was a bunch of other things they needed to clean up. But it does make things more difficult. You mentioned a lot of the kind of the pre-snap issues for Tennessee in Athens last year. Should be a very similar crowd in Florida, so they'll need to iron that out. You also touched on how the Swamp hasn't been very kind to Tennessee. Josh Heupel was asked about what it would mean for the program to win 2 straight games against Florida, and he bluntly pretty much was like, we don't care. We don't care about the history. We don't care about any losing streak in the Swamp. We don't care about beating a rival 2 times. Yesterday has no effect on today. He said, we just want to win this game individually. And I think that's how they need to approach these games. As Heupel has already proven, his teams don't care about the past. They took down Florida last year at home, which isn't the longest streak ever, but it was starting to build up into a decent streak. And of course, Alabama, first time in what feels like a lifetime, Tennessee finally took down the Tide again. He doesn't care about the history. He continues to say that. His players have echoed that. His assistant coaches have echoed that throughout the week. And that's just another confirmation that Josh Heupel does not care about this streak. That is not what's on his mind. That's not what's on the team's mind. They want to take this game individually and win it because it's a big game this season, not for anything in the past. So those were really the biggest takeaways from what Heupel had to say. It doesn't talk much on Thursdays as that team prepares to hit the road tomorrow and then play on Saturday. But make sure you head over to VolReport.com for all of our content throughout the week. We'll have score predictions coming up soon. We'll have keys to success, keys to win against Florida, and more content. And of course, we will be in Gainesville to cover the game, give you guys all the breaking news from the Swamp. So head over to VolReport.com, grab yourself a subscription, join the conversation, as we will have a lot to talk about this weekend. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Links to everything is in the description down below. Thank you for watching.